Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today, I'll be doing the Big 12. If you have not seen my last two videos, I'm doing the preview and prediction videos a little bit differently this year, just because it took me so long this offseason to finally get to a prediction for each team that I enjoyed. So it's a little, yeah. It's been a little, but anyways, I'm doing a little differently this year. It also saved a lot of time for me this year. So I'm going to do I'm going to go through each team's roster, depth chart, talk about a few things about it, and then we're going to go into this playoff predictor. If you have not seen it, it's playoff predictor. If you just look it up, you can find all of the Power 4 conferences and just go through and pick the games that you would like to pick. So, to start us off, let's go ahead and look at the rosters. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to go first with Arizona. Second-year head coach Brett Brennan coming in. They went 4-8 and 2-7 last year. Not the best for Arizona. They bring back Noah Fafita, who was a bright spot on the team last year, but they just were not a good team offensively last year. One game I can remember last year is the Kansas State game where they just sort of got beat down. Bringing in as well, they brought Ishmael Made coming in from Texas State, Chris Hudson coming in from Washington State, and Luke Wysong coming in from New Mexico to help out the offense. Defensively, they bring back a lot of production, and they bring in some transfers in Savay from Texas, and Deshaun McKnight from UT Martin, and Mr. Javoyan Cole from Texas as well. So, I would expect some improvement from Arizona this year, but it's always tough to predict that, especially in the Big 12. So, going on to the winner of the Big 12 last year, the Arizona State Sun Devils under head coach Kenny Dillingham. They bring back a lot in quarterback Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson, and a lot of their offense. They brought in Jalen Moss from Fresno State as well, and a Big Bo at guard to help out the offense as well. They did lose Cam Scadaboo, which was a big loss. They brought in Kane Udo from Army, who is a big contributor for Army last year. So we'll see what they end up being. I think that they'll be a contender, definitely. Their defense is very much similar to last year. They brought in a nickelback from Purdue to help tie everything together. So Arizona State could definitely be another contender in the Big 12. Going on, we have Baylor under head coach Dave Aranda, who, if things don't go right for them this year, he definitely could be out of Baylor. So they better hope Sawyer Robinson is the answer for them. They brought in Kobe Prentice from Alabama to help out in the wide receiver core. And on defense, they brought in a couple of guys to help as well. Dave Aranda's a very defensive guy. I could definitely see him doing better. At the end of the season last year, Baylor was a team you didn't really want to play. Them in Kansas as well. So we'll see if Dave Aranda could save his job. But moving on, I'm going a little faster in this just because each one, I'm not trying to make it so long to where it's like a couple hours long, but I'm trying to get everything out there. BYU. BYU has had a very interesting situation with the quarterback situation. Their quarterback last year, Retzlaff, was kicked off the team. I don't want to get into it right now, so I'm not going to. So starting for him is now going to be McKay Hillstead, redshirt sophomore transfer. He transferred in from Utah State a couple cycles ago. And his receivers, he brought in Tiger Bachmeier from Stanford, and he brought in a couple of guys from the transfer portal on the offensive line as well as on tight end. And Defensively, he brings back a lot, as well as some transfers in the defensive line to help out in depth. Going from there, after BYU, we have UCF. So UCF, under formerly and new head coach Scott Frost, they started over after firing Gus Malzahn. They bring in a bunch of guys. They bring in Taven Jackson coming in from Indiana. They bring in a bunch of receivers to help out. And on the defensive side, they bring in a lot of transfers on defense. It's going to be a toss-up if, I don't know, it's hard to tell when you bring in this many transfers if your team is going to be, how your team's going to do. They could do very well. They could do very bad. It just depends. So I'm not having high hopes for UCF right now this year. So let's move on to Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield, 5-7, 3-6 last year. Not that good of a season for Cincinnati. They bring back Brendan Sorsby to be their quarterback. They bring in some receiving help as well as running back and Walker, who came in from Wisconsin to hopefully help them out. Defensively, they brought in C.J. McRae from Virginia Tech to help out the defensive line. And Matthew McDoom coming in from Coastal Carolina. What a name. But other than that, I just don't know about Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield, I'm sure he's a great guy. I just don't think he's that good of a head coach in college, in high-level college football. So I've thought that since he was at Louisville. Moving on, going to Colorado with Coach Prime. Now, this is a team that has thrived off the transfer portal the past 2 cycles. Since Deion's got there the first year, they didn't make a bowl game. Last year, they had a really good season going 9-3. Shedeur Sanders is off to the NFL, so is Travis Hunter. So they had to backfill with Caden Salter coming in from Liberty. Sincere Brown came in from Campbell to help as well. The offensive line is full of transfers. And you also have Jordan Seaton, who was a true freshman last year. Defense, a lot less. You have Otis coming in from Alabama, along with others. So Coach Prime, if he can keep the trend going, he could definitely have another 9-win season. But there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be, what's it called? Oh, my goodness, I can't think of it. Anyways, a lot of factors are going to go into it. Next, Houston. Now with Coach Willie Fritz coming in from Tulane. Houston went 4-8, 3-6 last year. Not the best out of them, but they bring in a guy like Connor Wegman to hopefully help them out offensively. Defensively, they brought in a couple of guys as well. I know I'm blasting through these, but the last 2 videos, I did not spend a lot of time. Or I spent too much time on these. If you want to pause the video and look at all these, feel free to. Just whatever you would like, however you would like to do it. So, going from Houston, we go to Iowa State. Correct, not Iowa. We go to Iowa State, the runner-up in Big 12 last year. They bring back Rocco Becht, and they bring in 2 wide receiver transfers to help out in Chase Sowell and from East Carolina, and Xavier Townsend from Central Florida to help backfill at wide receiver. But everyone else is a returning guy on the offensive side. Defensively, you got Trey Bell coming in from Lindenwood and Von Troy Malone from Tulsa. So this is a team that is a very veteran team, but anything can happen in the Big 12. Next up, we have the Kansas Jayhawks. Under Lance Leipold, they did not have the season that they would like last year, but at the end of the year, they did have a strong finish. So they bring back redshirt senior quarterback Jalen Daniels. Behind him, they brought in running back LaShawn Williams from Iowa. They brought in Emmanuel Henderson from Alabama and Cam Pickett from Ball State, as well as Bryson Canty from Columbia. They brought in help at guard. Besides that, they brought back a lot of veteran talent on the offensive line, which will help out. Defensively, they brought in Justin Finkley from Texas. They brought in Kamara from South Carolina. Joseph Sipp from Bowling Green. Trey Lathan from West Virginia. Rawls from Oklahoma State. Graham from Utah State. And Laquan Robinson from Auburn. So, moving on. Kansas State, another big contender in the Big 12, not Kent State. Sorry about that. Kansas State, they bring back Avery Johnson at quarterback and get him some help at wide receiver and offensive line help. Defensively, they brought in Gabe Powers, Gunnar Maldonado, and Amarian Fortenberry to fill in weak spots on the defense. Next up, we have, let's see, make sure I don't miss anybody. Next up will be Oklahoma State. This is a team that really disappointed last year under Mike Gundy. They bring back Zane Flores for quarterback. They also bring Brian Haas Henney from TCU. But you're really breaking in a new quarterback, and you brought in new offensive linemen to help out. Hopefully, turn your luck from last year. A lot of transfers in on the defensive side. Their defense was not the best last year, so hopefully this can rectify it, but it's a question mark right now. Next up, after Oklahoma State, we have the TCU Horned Frogs, which is a team that I believe could take a big step this year. They bring back quarterback Josh Hoover, who had a pretty good year last year. They bring in Joseph Manjack, coming in from Houston, as well as Jordan Dyer from Idaho, to hopefully help the offense have some more depth. On the defensive side, you bring in a lot of senior talent, including transfers to Elijah Jackson from Washington and Ansel Den Imba from Washington State. TCU could be a dark horse contender in the Big 12 this year. Next up, the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the team that was the number one team in the transfer portal this past year. They bring in, David Bailey, transfer from Stanford, who is the number one edge player, I believe. Romeo Height from Georgia Tech, another really good piece. They bring in Hunter Lee from Central Florida, defensive tackle. They bring in Skylar Gill Howard from Northern Illinois. They bring in Cole, North Dakota State, however you say the last name. Bryce Pollock from Mississippi State. Running back Quentin Joyner from USC. They bring in Reggie Virgil from Miami of Ohio. Howard Sampson from North Carolina. And Hunter Zambrano from Illinois State. We'll see if the transfer portal additions can help them out this year. Because it's a big pickup for Texas Tech under Joey McGuire. All right. Next up, we have the Utah Utes. Utah, very disappointing season last year under Kyle Whittingham. Looking to bounce back this year with quarterback Devon Dampier coming in from New Mexico. He's going to be fighting it out with Isaac Wilson, the younger brother of Zach Wilson. They brought in Washawn Parker from Washington State. Naquari Rogers from New Mexico. Bryce Duke from Old Dominion at running back. Tobias Merriweather from Cal, Larry Simmons from Southern Miss, Ryan Davis from New Mexico. On the offensive side, to help out, they also brought back a lot of their offensive line. Defensively, they brought in one transfer from UC Davis in Blake Cotton. Other than that, it's a lot of guys that came back. So that's a good sign for Utah. Next up, we get the West Virginia Mountaineers to end it off, I believe. So West Virginia, under Rich Rodriguez, the former and now new head coach of West Virginia, hoping to bring what he had with West Virginia back. I think it's going to take a few years for him to get there. He brought in a lot of transfers, sort of like UCF did. I just don't know. It's just a lot of question marks on this team. You have a lot of guys. You bring back a quarterback, but he didn't start last year. It's just a lot of question marks for me for West Virginia. Now, I believe that's all of them. I believe that's everybody in the Big 12. Yes. So, let's jump right into it. Let's pick some games. So, the first game of the season will happen in Ireland against Kansas State and Iowa State in the Farmageddon rivalry. I think Kansas State gets it done. Iowa State had a really good year last year, but in these matchups, it's just tough to win. Fresno State, Kansas, give me Kansas. Central Florida, Oklahoma State. These are all matchups that are either I already picked or they're matchups to where it's a very, very slight chance that the underdog is going to win. Give me Arizona here. Okay, I picked Utah here, and I picked TCU. Okay. So, one that I could see maybe would be a Portland State versus Brigham Young. I'm not going to pick it, but I definitely could see it, and I'm just pointing it out. So, the one that I have left here is Auburn at Baylor. Now, Auburn is an interesting situation. I feel like Auburn is going to be a make-it-or-break-it team this year with regards to Hugh Freeze's job. They definitely could win this game and go on to have a good season, or they could lose this game and go on to have a good season. We'll just have to see. I do think Auburn wins it. I think Hugh Freeze, year 3, has that team talent roster-wise to where they could contend with almost anybody in the country. So give me the Auburn Tigers here in Week 1. Week 2, I have Iowa beating Iowa State. I believe, let me check. I think I have SMU beating Baylor, but I just want to double check. Yes, I have SMU beating Baylor. Texas Tech over Kent State, Colorado over them, Cincinnati over Bowling Green, Oregon over Oklahoma State, West Virginia. Okay, I'm just going to keep on keeping on these. Okay. And then Stanford, I believe I have them beating BYU. Yes, I do. Okay. So the games that I'm going to think about a little bit more, Kansas at Missouri, Houston at Rice, and Arizona State at Mississippi State. This is tough. Give me Houston over Rice. I think Willie Fritz is going to have that team raring to go. Give me Arizona State over Mississippi State. Mississippi State, they're improving, but they have a long way to go. And then give me Missouri over Kansas. I think that defense for Missouri has been built and curated by Eli Drinkwitz enough to where it can handle a team like Kansas. So give me Missouri in that game. Next up, Week 3, we have some games here that are either picked already or are not necessarily games that you would be worried about the team losing. So Colorado at Houston, give me Colorado here. Colorado, I think under Coach Prime, still good enough to beat a team like Houston. Kansas State at Arizona, give me Avery Johnson at Kansas State. Oregon State at Texas Tech, give me Texas Tech. Next, Okay, rivalry game here. Tulsa at Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State takes care of business. I could definitely see an upset there, but give me the Cowboys. Arizona State at Baylor. Baylor coming out of the gates at 1-2. Not a good look so far um for sorry. Not a good look so far right now for Coach Dave Aranda. I think they get back on the ropes with a win against Arizona State. Give me Colorado over Wyoming. Give me Kansas to beat West Virginia. And I believe I have TCU beating SMU. Let me make sure of that. I don't want to tell you different. Yes, I have TCU beating SMU. And give me Texas Tech over Utah. All right, so next, TCU at Arizona State. So, give me a win for Arizona State at home. Give me a loss. Actually, hold on. I'm going to wait for that one. Give me a win for Iowa State over Arizona. Give me a win for Kansas State over UCF. Win for Kansas over Cincinnati. Give me a win for Baylor over Oklahoma State. A win for Utah over West Virginia. And a win for Colorado over Brigham Young. And Houston playing Oregon State on the road. Give me Houston. Give me Houston in that game. Next up, West Virginia at Brigham Young. Give me BYU in a big win for the Big 12. Kansas State at Baylor. Give me Baylor. Actually, excuse me. Give me Kansas State for a win there. Give me TCU over Colorado. Give me Oklahoma State over Arizona. Give me Iowa State over Cincinnati, Kansas over UCF, and Houston over Texas Tech in a big upset there. Next up, Iowa State at Colorado. Give me Iowa State. They brought back a bunch. Give me Oklahoma State over Houston. Give me that's a tough one too. Give me Arizona over BYU. Give me Utah over Arizona State. Cincinnati over UCF. Give me TCU over Kansas State. And give me Texas Tech over Kansas. Utah over Brigham Young. Oklahoma State over Cincinnati. TCU over Baylor. Okay, this is a tough one. Arizona over Houston. And this one, Arizona State taking on Texas Tech. Give me Arizona State. Then going into week 9, this is how the Big 12 looks. You have Kansas State and TCU, Utah, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, all in a tie for first in the conference. Give me Arizona State over Houston, Iowa State over Brigham Young, Kansas State over Kansas, Texas Tech over Oklahoma State, Baylor over Cincinnati, Utah over Colorado, and TCU over West Virginia. Next up, we have Baylor over Central Florida. We have Colorado over Arizona. That's a tough one again. I think Arizona State gets the win over Iowa State. Kansas State, I think, beats Texas Tech. I think Kansas beats Oklahoma State. I think Houston beats West Virginia. And I think Utah beats Cincinnati. Next, Houston, I think, beats Central Florida. I think TCU loses to Iowa State. I think Texas Tech beats Brigham Young, Kansas beats Arizona, and Colorado. Yeah, I think Colorado wins a game at West Virginia. And then next week, Arizona State beats West Virginia. I think Baylor upsets Utah. TCU beats Brigham Young. I think Kansas State beats Oklahoma State. Texas Tech beats Central Florida. And Arizona beats Cincinnati. Okay. Going into the final stretch of the season, we have Arizona State at Colorado. Give me Arizona State. Kansas at Iowa State. I think Kansas upsets Iowa State there. Baylor at Arizona. Give me the Baylor Bears. BYU at Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati to get a much-needed win here. Oklahoma State at Central Florida. Give me the Cowboys. TCU at Houston. Give me TCU. And then Kansas State at Utah. Give me Kansas State. Actually, give me Utah. Give me Utah. And then the last week of the regular season, Arizona State beats Arizona. I think Baylor beats Houston. I think BYU beats Central Florida. I think Colorado at Kansas State. Give me Kansas State. Give me Iowa State over Oklahoma State. TCU over Cincinnati. And then Texas Tech over West Virginia. So, this is what it looks like in the Big 12 to end the year. We have Kansas State and Arizona State playing in the Big 12 championship at 10-2 and only 2 losses in the conference. Then you have TCU and Baylor both having 7-2 in the conference. Oh, excuse me, I forgot this game. Utah and Kansas. It's at Kansas. Give Kansas the win here. I think Kansas gets the win here. It goes 9-3. 9-3, 7-2. Baylor 8-4, 7-2. 9-3, 6-3 for Texas Tech. 9-3, 6-3 for Utah. 8-4, 6-3 for Iowa State. 6-6, 4-5 for Colorado. 6-6, 4-5 for Oklahoma State. 6-6, 3-6 for Houston. 5-7, 3-7 for Arizona. 4-8, 2-7 for Cincinnati. 4-8, 2-7 for BYU. 2-9, 0-8, and 2-9, 0-8 for West Virginia. And hold on, are they missing one? Hold on now. Yeah, it's right here. Cool. West Virginia at Central Florida. Give me West Virginia there. There we go. Okay. Now then. Now that we got that, here's your final standings for the Big 12. Kansas State, Arizona State in the championship game. TCU, Iowa State takes a step back. Arizona State's right back there. So, yeah, there you go. There is the Big 12. So, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and go Dogs.